Okay, so this is my stress tank theory. So we all have our own sized tank and threshold to stress. Okay, so imagine that this is a tank, like it would be a tank that holds water, for example. Okay, and some people have smaller tanks, some people have huge tanks. So some people have middle-sized tanks and anywhere in between. So we all have our own size tank and our own ability and threshold to how much stress we can manage. Okay, so imagine this is your tank actually. Imagine you've got a tank, you've drawn the size of it, and just have a little think about how full is your tank. Is your tank up here? Or is it somewhere in the middle? Whereabouts? How full is your tank generally? Now, the fullness of the tank will depend on all of the stresses going in. So imagine you've got buckets pouring in stress. So you might have some little buckets pouring in a little bit of stress. You might have some huge buckets pouring in stress. And you might have one or two just pouring in stress. You might have like 20 things pouring in stress. So what I want you to do to start with is take a moment to identify what are your buckets. What are the things that are causing you stress on a daily basis? So take a moment to write those things down. If you've got a workbook or if you're not driving, if you've got somewhere safe to do so, stop and write it down now and make a point of that, okay? Stop the tape, stop the video. Off we go. Okay, you've done that now. Worked out your stresses. What are your big ones? What are your little ones? What are the little niggly things? Now we know what's filling up that tank. What can we do about it? What things can we do to affect our stress tank? Yeah, you got it. So one of the first things we can do is press delete and take away some of the buckets. So what do we need to do? We may need to make a plan to work out what exactly we need to do in order to delete a bucket. Or do we make some of the bigger buckets smaller buckets? And what do we need to do that? Have a think, work out your plans. You know, it's important to be realistic in life, you know. If one of the big stresses is job and work, you know, well, what can we do about that? It's maybe not as easy just to say, no, we're not going to do that job anymore because it brings in a finance. But what can we do to reduce the stress from that job and how we respond to the stresses that come in? One of the stresses may be food. Missing breakfast can put huge stress on our body. So putting a plan into place to have more healthier eating or making sure we're drinking more water will reduce stress in our body. So physical, mental, emotional stresses, what were they? What's your plan? So yes, we can delete some of the buckets or make some of the buckets smaller. What else can we do to the tank? So what many people have said to me is they can get a bigger tank. Make a bigger tank so however full it's now less full. So it may be more now in the middle of a bigger tank. Okay? And so we feel like we can cope a lot better and life is a lot easier for doing that. So you may be thinking right now, how do we make a bigger tank? Okay, so do things that relax you more. What relaxes you, and do more of it. And as you implement these things into your life, then suddenly you will feel like you can cope with the stress a lot better because you're doing more stuff that relaxes you. Sounds quite simple, yeah? So what would you do that relaxes you to make you a bigger tank? In fact, just take this moment, actually we'll do it now. What relaxes you? What relaxes you? Maybe walking, maybe reading, maybe spending time with loved ones, maybe spending time on your own and having a bit of space. Maybe certain music relaxes you. It may be watching a good comedy relaxes you and gets you doing some really good belly laughing. It might be that being in nature relaxes you. Being on holiday relaxes you. Maybe you need more breaks, more time out. Whatever it is, what relaxes you, and do more of it. What can you do to relax? It may be something simple like a bath. Sitting in a bath with your favourite music with a candle on. Yeah? Just having that time to yourself. How often do you actually take time to relax right now? Think about your week. Where in your week do you relax? Where can you fit time into your week to relax? How can you make it part of your routine, part of your life, to do more relaxation? Great, so there's some of the key questions. Now there's something else we can do to this tank to affect it. And one of my clients a few years ago came up with this idea, and it's really, really fab. And that was to put a plug, to empty the plug, pull the plug out of the tank, and let the stress drain out. So you might be thinking, well, okay, that sounds interesting, but how do I do that? And what I found is literally letting it go is pulling the plug on the stress. This is something that many yoga teachers will teach, the letting go and relaxing phase of just breathing out any stresses. So I used to struggle with a lot of stress actually, working a lot of hours, and then I started to implement something. I worked at a gym, and I used to manage gym as well. And what I used to do is go into the sauna and the steam room every Friday afternoon at the end of a working week, and I'd go and sit in there, and I'd lie down, and I would literally think about all the things that had caused me stress that week. And I kind of just feel the tension of all of that. And then I would just sit there and breathe out the stresses. And I'd either breathe out all of the stress as one and just as a whole, or I'd be breathing out different things that caused me stress. And I'd do that for 5 minutes, and then I'd sit out the sauna and sit outside by the pool for 5 minutes, and then I'd go in the steam room and do the same, and then sit back out again. Now, I'm not joking, but within that kind of 15-20 minutes, I left there feeling totally relaxed. And I felt all the stress drain off me, and I felt super relaxed. That's something that doesn't have to take 20 minutes, it's something we can do as part of our days, our weeks, on a regular basis. It's just breathe it out, let go of it. But we've got to be able to recognise it before we let go of it. Okay? Or it's good to recognise it before letting go of it. So that's my stress tank theory, and I hope you put it into practice and that it makes a difference to your weeks. Okay. Anything else to share with you on the stress? Let's have a quick look. So some top tips really about what we can do to reduce stress. Actually, another thing I want you to think about, sorry if this is a bit jumbled up sharply, but we can structure this better, that's what you're helping me with, is how it can affect us. So, how do you know when you're stressed? Is it because you bite your nails? Is it because you don't sleep as well? Is it because you drink more alcohol? Is it you're stressed when you drink more coffee? Do you know you're stressed when you're more irritable and snappy and moody? Are you more stressed when you go quiet? Is that sign that you're more stressed? Or do you vent your angers out on others and you're kind of really vocal with your stress? Because some people internalise stress, and some people don't look stressed, but it's all inside, built up within them. And then some people externalise it, and they talk about it, and they want to get it out straight away. Now, both things are signs of stress. Both, the main thing is you're aware of what type of person you are, and that you recognise when you're stressed so that you can do something about it. So, tips for relaxation. Let's focus on the word relaxation now, because straight away that makes us feel good, yeah? Peace and relaxation. Beware of the words you use. Replace words like, stressful words like I must, I should, I ought to, I need to. All of those four things really are putting more stress on us. Use words instead like I can, I will, I want to. When you use the words, think about the feelings behind those words. I should, I must, I need, I ought to. How do they feel? And then think about I can, I will, I want to, I'm going to. How much more relaxing are those words? Make a list of the jobs that you need to do. I'm sure some of you do this, and then you have your tick list and tick or cross out when you've done them. Yeah? Really satisfying feeling, knowing what you've got to do and then getting them done and working your way through it. Protein, nutrition. Protein in the morning is essential. It's a great way to start the day. If you haven't already tuned into it, tune into the nutrition modulations to listen and learn about how important our nutrition is and what really healthy eating is all about. Follow the nutrition plan that we've got as part of this program as well. And part of that is having protein in the morning. Protein in the morning is great for balancing our blood sugar levels so we don't crave sugar as much and that we have more consistent energy throughout the day. Making sure having protein with each meal actually is really helpful for that too. Breathe. Making sure that you make time in your day to be quiet and to breathe. You can really use your breathing to slow down the kind of busyness and the rushing around and the stress, and really makes you feel more relaxed. So remember, tune into the breathing modulation to learn how to do that really well. And also in the breathing modulation is a great technique called nasal breathing, and that's fantastic for helping with just calming the mind and creating some clarity and reducing stress. Making sure you're drinking enough water. Again, the hydration module, referring back to that. If you're dehydrated, that puts the stress on the body. Make sure you're hydrated. Walk slowly. You know, we can often be rushing around, but actually, something we can do is just slow down just a bit, only by a few percent, the speed that we walk. And it just makes you feel like you've got a bit more time. And actually just that bit slower makes the world of difference, and yet guess what? You still tend to get to places on time and get things done on time. It's pretty amazing. Or if you're really always running late for things, well then certainly reducing your stress, you could reduce your stress by actually giving yourself more time to be on time. Remember, if you're always early, you're never late. We've talked about how exercise can be really helpful for relaxing, but doing the right type of exercise. Tune into the exercise modulation. Exercise like yoga, meditation is an amazing practice that can de-stress and relax. Having massage regularly, body treatments. There's certain foods that relax us, like celery, sunflower, sesame seeds, brown rice, almonds, berries, garlic, avocados, oily fish, and nuts and oats are all really good foods for helping give our body the nutrients that help with relaxing us. B vitamins are really, really essential. They are our relaxing vitamins. Taking a B vitamin, a B complex vitamin supplement can be really helpful for people who are struggling with stress or even with sleep as well. Magnesium also is the mineral that helps with relaxing. So magnesium supplement may also be useful. Now some of you may say, well, why do we need supplements? Surely we should get it from our food. But watch the Wise supplement modulation, and we'll just learn how our food and farming has changed, and the food industry has changed to be lacking in a lot of the nutrition these days. But also our demands are higher. If we're stressed, and we have more stress now in these years than maybe we did in previous years, then we need more nutrition to help to offset some of that stress. So magnesium and B vitamins are key.